This is take 2 on the weirder, wackier, wilder earrings. And before I use 16 gauge copper, which is tough to work with and you think it'd be strong, but if you put it into large shapes, it's still subject to being pliable and therefore snaggable and therefore losing its shape. This time I'm going to use aluminum, which is the softest wire as far as I know that they make for jewelry or other things. It's too soft. It's like butter. It's almost worthless until you hammer it. Then suddenly this stuff becomes not only a cool flat pattern with some cool hammer marks going around it, but it becomes stronger than 16 gauge copper. And you can play around with this while it's soft. You can bend it any which way you want. It's easy on your hands, easy on your fingers, and you can get it in heavier gauges. This is 14 gauge. 14 gauge is probably a gauge you never thought you'd ever work with, at least not in copper. So anyway, here's the other cool thing is you can go to the dollar store and get this stuff for $1 that would normally be $3 or $4 or $5 at the art store. So unfortunately the dollar store only had purple and red, which are not my favorite colors. I prefer earth tones and silvers and, you know, natural metal colored looking things, but we can blend these up and make some cool stuff with them. Now Joann Fabrics had coated black gunmetal, some type of antique copper, and these 2 silvers here. I think I'm going to use the 14 gauge because it's heavier, and then some other kind of champagne-y antique copper. So let's blend some of these colors and see what we can do. Now on the last one, we basically took, you know, you could draw it out and plan it or you could not, but we basically made like a crazy shape like that, and then we made another crazy shape in it. They didn't really even match at all, but they were, you know, relatively the same size and idea. And then we took a different color metal and did one of these type things, like smaller. And then we took a different color metal and did one of these type things, like, you know, even crazier. And they didn't even have to fit inside each other the right way. And it was kind of fun, but I scarfed each one of these, and that kind of made a lot of bulk right up in here, and that kept these from laying flat. So if you turned them to look at the profile like this, you would see that instead of laying flat like this, well, now we're using all different colors, but instead of laying flat like this, like was my aim, they got all bunched up right in here, and so they kind of looked more like this. Which is fine. They also kind of bounced around each other and kind of got tangled and made a mess. So if they were in a bag and you gave them to someone to take home, by the time they took them out and untangled them, they'd put them on and be like, and then have to mess with them for a second, which is also fine. But I think this is going to be the new improved way. So not only are we going to hammer it flat, but we're going to stagger them. The next one is not going to be right on top. We're going to have it about right here, right? And the third one we're going to have right here. And that way we can connect each of these with a jump ring, these with a jump ring. And then finally our earring hooks can probably go at the top without even needing another jump ring, because it'll just be that one loop. So that'll be good. I need to go practice drawing earring hooks, because that's an ugly earring hook. That's like really a nightmare before holiday, Elm Street, Christmas earring hook. You can almost hear the lightning strike. Tim Burton, that's what I was thinking. Now, if you've heard me talk about colors before, I'm a stickler for not blending warms and colds. So this is kind of a neutral. This black gunmetal could go with anything. These are definitely 2 versions of a copper, so they're warm colors. The red, that's too freaky for me. I might blend it with the purple later to have some fun, maybe with the black, right? That's kind of Halloween-y. But I just love this fat 14 gauge silver, and I got to use it. I couldn't find 14 gauge in anything else except for these guys, but I really want to do these earth tones. So what's the dilemma? I think I'm going to take the black gunmetal, which kind of marries the cold and the warm, and see if I can get away with these 3, right? Or maybe these 3. Let's try these 3. That's a little bit, it's kind of steampunkish color. I hope you can see these colors clearly on the camera, as clearly as I can see them. But this is kind of a champagne copper. This is black gunmetal, shiny black, and this is your silver, your aluminum silver. So let's have some fun with this. I'm also going to aim to make these a little smaller this time, so they can be worn by more people than just the absolute wild party animals. Like maybe some more slightly conservative types might want to wear a pair. So this is about half the size of the wacky wild ones I did before, and therefore we'll do our next ones kind of like this, right? And then our next ones kind of like this, right? And I think that'll make them see the difference. See that? Quite a big difference there. But let's begin. I cut 2 pieces about the same size. They're about 8 inches. That might be way too much, but aluminum's super cheap, so you guys are worth the risk. So I'm going to make my loop like this. Now I'm not going to need to scarf it, because when I hammer it, that baby's going to stay like that. So let's just reference this, see how we're going to... Okay, let's do some fun. And this is just the fun part where you go wacky and wild. You can make yours way wackier and wilder than mine. They don't have to conform to this exact pattern. I'm just... this is literally only the second time this is the first time I'm doing it. Like, I did it once with copper, and I didn't practice it. I just did the video, and you saw it came out cool, but it was a little wild and nutty. And now this next one is going to also be cool, but wild and nutty. I have no idea if it's going to come out good or not. I just don't know. I'm just trying to basically get the concept. I'm not trying to copy that drawing exactly, because the drawing I just made up off the top of my head anyway. So, I think, yeah, so this is kind of scary for me to just end it like this, but I think that's what I can do is just cut it right there and trust that it's going to hold its shape. Let's find out. Learn as we go. Make the next one, do the same thing. I decided I don't totally trust that sharp end is not going to become a problem. So I made another little curve and I tucked that guy in. So we'll just have him right up like that, and hopefully the hammering will hold everything in place. So I got to do the same to this guy. Just take this little end and just give him this slice little curve. I would have left myself more metal if I knew I was going to do this, but that makes the whole thing a teensy bit smaller as I pull it tighter, but pretty close. Not really. This one looks bigger. Let's cut a little bit off. Do that curve again. Just make it as tight as possible. Lose as little wire as possible, and then pull it up. There we go. Now we're kind of looking the same size. Another reason we don't scarf is the one rule for hammering, because I haven't hammered much and I'm not that experienced, but the one rule I do know is you don't want to cross wires in your design and then hammer that spot, because what will happen is by hammering one piece over another piece, you're going to weaken both of them and you will make a spot so weak it will break. So probably right while you're hammering or shortly after, you're going to totally break your piece. So one simple rule to live by, not too bad. Now you're going to need a piece of metal, like a hard, solid, flat piece of metal. I bought this little anvil because I thought it was so cute, and actually, I'm pretending I bought it. I actually stole it off of some Keebler elves. But anyway, any hammer will do. There's jewelry hammers, and they probably cost more. This is a hardware store hammer, and I like doing things the wrong way, so I'm just going to use this. Now, you can hammer it right on your table if you're not worried too much, and it will do the job. But it makes a ton of noise as your table vibrates everything around it. Much better to find a piece of concrete, like a step, or a patio or something that's concrete or stone. I'm going to put it on the tile down on the floor here in a sec, but I'm going to put a piece of leather under it so I'm not hurting the tile. And I'm going to put a piece of plastic. I wanted a bigger piece of leather. That's all I had up here. So I'm going to put a piece of plastic in case it slides off the leather. So that way I'm cushioning the tile, but you'll hear it's a lot quieter if you hammer it on something that's very solid, unlike a table where there's a lot of vibration from the legs going down to the floor and everything on the table shakes. So let's move down here. This is much stronger now, but This is moving a little bit. So I'm just going to connect those with a jump ring just to be absolutely sure it doesn't get, it could get snagged. So, but this definitely, right now, it's not coming out of its shape, even when I put quite a bit of pressure on it, much more so than regular copper 16 gauge that is not hammered. Now I could try hammering copper too, but right now this aluminum is just super fun. And I love these like textures parts that are coming out of it. I actually want to bang it some more and put some more texture in it. But I'm going to do the next two parts. Now you can use your drawing or you can just use the piece, but I'm just going to make another loop right there. We're going to start it about right there, and we're just going to make that loop tight. And we're just going to have it come kind of mirror the inside of this shape, but not too perfect. We want it to look kind of wild and funky too. Now this is 16 gauge. This is not 14 was the silver. I think 14 is the coolest if you can get 14 in all your colors. And if you're ordering online and not just running to the store in a pinch and taking whatever they have, then you can be more choosy. Let's see. Yeah, making these smaller is less fun. You're already like cramped and running out of space, but you can make more pieces with less wire, so you're using up less. You can make more mistakes, so that's kind of fun. And when you're done, your pieces are going to be more sellable because lots of people like medium-sized earrings. Very few people like big, humongous earrings. Now, the people who do like big, humongous earrings love them. And those are the crazy, wild party animals, and they're fun people in general. So if you can find some to sell to, definitely make some big ones, because it'll make your booth look more attractive from a distance when people see big, wild, crazy stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this is the fun place." But the people they're like, "This is the fun place. Hey, Jen, look at these. Wouldn't they be wild? Ha ha ha! Imagine me wearing those." "Oh, Sandra, you could never pull those off." "I know, Jen. I know. Aren't they so adorable? Look at this." And then they'll hold them up to their ear and act all silly. And meanwhile, you're rolling your eyes like, could you ladies just decide you're going to buy something or not? So I'm not standing here all day. But this is like, I wanted them to be sharp edges, but my bends are turning very rounded. So they're turning into little amoebas. These are looking like single-celled creatures, which I absolutely adore. So I'm fine with that. If you do want to make sharper edges, and you're not time constrained trying to fit it into a 15-minute video, you can go right to the edge like this and squeeze, and then go right to the other edge and squeeze, and then that way you get much sharper corners in your edges. So do that. But I'm just enjoying the experiment here. So I'm going to move on with the next part. I think I might put this part over that part with the jump ring. So then I don't have to use extra jump rings. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to attach everything so nothing can get, snagged. All right, let's hammer these guys. I'm going to do this one right on the table. I don't care if I make noise. I don't feel like getting down on the floor anymore. Let them arrest me. Let them come for me. You definitely get more leverage on concrete than on a wooden tabletop. Yeah, that needs some more. You can really have some fun. Take out your aggression. Yep, that's even more flimsy than the 14 gauge is really what you want to go for, guys. But this will work in a pinch. So it's pretty wild and fun, right? It's starting to look like a metallic sculpture. Like, I'm loving this. Look at up close. That looks really cool, doesn't it? Fun. Let's do the last one. This champagne colored. And again, you don't have to do 3 layers. I mean, just these 2 layers would make really fun, funky earrings. I'm actually thinking these are going to be more amazing than I'm originally thought. I think I'm going to make a bunch of these. I think these really might take off like a new fad, because these are just so cool. I'm enjoying this. I'm glad I mixed the metals, the cold and the warm too. I had to break out of my shell. I was getting stifled by my own rules. You ever do that to yourself? Just got to break out. You got to be someone who you're not. Just, that's not me. Maybe it can be you, Jenny. Just got to break out. Don't be afraid. Afraid no longer. This is super fun. It's so easy to bend too. The aluminum is like, if your fingers have been hurting from using a lot of copper and German silver, oh, that's the worst. This is really fun. Oh man, I'm starting to get into these teeny tiny little shapes too. They're like really cute. They're tiny. I'm gonna need my round nose to curl this one because these are just too, what's the word? It's too tiny. We're getting too tiny here. Whoa, look at that. Okay. Oh, that's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. I hope the jump rings really hold them together well. Just gonna give it one last tweak. There we go. And careful not to get your thumb. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's like, I'm gonna get that last little curl right there. I'm telling you, this is super lightweight. I think I'm gonna do this with copper. This is almost too lightweight. Oh crap, that one went down too. I wanted that up. Oh, you know what? It still is a little flexible. Okay. The 16 gauge is a little more flexible. The 14 gauge is pretty tough. Once you have it hammered, it stays where you put it. All right, let's see. My other two. Here comes number 3. Bam. Yeah, I kind of just like the black and the silver the way they were. You know, just those are cool earrings just the way they were. I think maybe I should just leave those like that and just make these like another pair. I don't know. We'll finish these off and then decide. Yeah, baby. Bam. So what do you think? All 3 together? Or should I make these 2 their own pair and let these be a little more simple with just the silver and black? I think normally I would just do these 2 together and end it, and I think somebody would love them. But just to give the full effect, I'm going to put them all together, and I'm just going to find ways to link all the jump rings so each of these 6 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 on each piece, are going to be connected, so there's no piece that's going to get snagged. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Once you're using this many different colors of metal, it really doesn't matter what color jump ring you use, because any color is just going to make it look more funky or blend in or whatever. But I'm going to play with this and see if I can figure it out. Okay, I got a medium 6mm jump ring to hold just this smallest piece to itself. I think I'm going to start small and just get each piece connected to itself first. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with just see what goes with each earring at first. All right, to keep it from being complicated, I'm just going to shove one of these loops. Instead of having them side by side, I'm just going to put one on top of the other and just put the jump ring through and use that same jump ring to connect it to the next part. I think that'll be easiest. Let's give that a shot. This part was hammered so tight I can't even get a jump ring in there, so I'm going to have to pull it out a little bit. That takes a little bit of muscle because that was really jammed in there good. I mean, it was hammered really hard, but I think I can do it now. Well, that looks cool, except this jumble is ridiculous. So they're all hanging good, but once again, I have too much bulk up here. So I'm going to find a way to streamline this. Okay, it is working where I just have to put one loop on top of the other like that. Moral of the story, when you guys make these loops a little bigger, because the hammering is going to make the hole smaller than you think. There we go, much better. A little crazy, and these little pieces keep trying to tangle with the big ones, but I think they're laying pretty flat. See that? So you get different size. These are 10mm jump rings. Make sure you have a graduated bunch of different size jump rings for any project. It's what I always suggest. All right, let's try to see if we can do the next one. Technically, these could be 3 different pairs of earrings, or I could have made it way less crazy and just had like a simple oval or a simple diamond shape, and then they probably wouldn't have gotten tangled as much, but come on, this is so much fun, right? This one came out a little better in a weird way. Again, it's laying very flat, except for that little jump ring. These are kind of fun. All right, let's see how they look. I don't think there's not going to be enough to put, it's too fat to put one single earring hook here. I'm going to have to do the one jump ring, and then a tiny jump ring, and then the earring hook. That one looks cool. I'm loving this. This is, yeah. This one is kind of a mess, but they keep trying to cuddle inside each other. There's these little pieces are a little too affectionate. They become an instant family. All right, now it looks kind of cool, right? Anyway, this one's a little skinnier in general. This one's a little fatter. I think it's that metal. I think I'm going to squeeze the metal. I wonder if I can still bend it. Yeah, you can still bend it a little bit. Bam! Finally, after all that wrestling, I think they look pretty awesome. Woo!